So you want to read fantasy, but you don't know where to start. I am now your teacher. Welcome to Fantasy 101. Hey nerds, welcome back to the Nexus, and this is Fantasy 101. For first class today, we're going to talk about 5 subgenres of fantasy. Please note, these are not the only subgenres of fantasy. I don't want to go through the whole list, but I figured if I'm going to get you to pick up some fantasy books, let's talk about some very popular fantasy genres. So the first fantasy genre that I'm sure you've heard of is high fantasy, epic fantasy. This is like Game of Thrones, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. It's where everything is set in its own magical world and it has its own everything. Basically, again, Game of Thrones. Good enough. This next one, I feel like a lot of millennials grew up on this fantasy and didn't really know the genre, and it is dystopian fantasy. This is Hunger Games, Divergent, Handmaid's Tale, anything where the world has basically gone wrong. It's basically worse than the present. We make jokes that we're heading towards a dystopian, but if you've read dystopian, you kind of feel like that might actually be true. The next genre is urban fantasy, and no, just because it's called urban doesn't mean it's black. That's racist. Urban fantasy means that the magical elements and stuff are taking place in our world. So think N.K. Jemisin, think, well, specifically The Night We Became, think Percy Jackson, think those kind of things. It's where fantasy stuff takes place in our world and cities. Urban does not automatically mean black. The next one you might have heard of is dark fantasy. This is more like Lovecraft Country, Dread Nation. It's combining elements of fantasy with the horror genre. I do find it interesting that this happens a lot when it's retellings of our history, but that's a talk for another day. The newest one that I've kind of fallen in love with is the cozy fantasy genre. This is where there are lighter stories that focus on character journey rather than epic adventures, slow pace, feel good kind of things. Like think Enchanted Greenhouse, think The Magical Innkeeping, Sangu Mandana. Think about those. That's cozy fantasy. They feel good, but they're still magical elements, and like it's still like just enough to make you smile and want to drink your tea. So that is your first lesson in Fantasy 101. I am your teacher, and I'm logging out to the next time, nerds. Bye.